Yay, let's go.
After I turned my back, I've been hearing lots of clapping back there. It's kind of cool. How y'all doing? Yeah, so glad to see you this morning. So thank you to the sound people. Thank you to our ministers. Thank you to everybody that got here this morning to have our little party in spirit, what we do on our Sundays. So right now, I'd like you to consider yourself in the God bubble, as always, because this is your time with Spirit. Anything that you came in with, worry, upset, what's for dinner, what are we going to do later, simply just mentally pick those up and put them on the outside of the bubble. If there's something that worries you, you're welcome to pick it up when you leave. You don't really have to. We can just let that dissipate back into the ground. But this is your time with Spirit, and if there's anything that you can pick up during this time today, please do. Pick it up and take it with you. Any ahas or something that you can take out into the world, into your life this coming week. So today we are talking about riding the road to prosperity. And aren't we always on that journey to prosperity? Whatever prosperity is to you, whether it's health or whether it's finances or whether it's love and friendship and the things that make you feel really good. Because we get a lot of hiccups along the way, don't we? We get some hiccups. Sometimes we were talking last night, it almost seems like we set ourselves up. So when we're little and we come into this world, we're creating all these things that when we get to be our age, we have to heal from. Is that true? That's right. So it's kind of an oxymoron in a weird kind of way, but we're here to learn those lessons, and they are our very own lessons to learn. Everything's kind of the same. We're in our own individual boats, so we're in our separate boats, but what we share is the storm. And there's a lot of storm going on right now. So from our political climate to our climate to everything, people and personalities and human beingness, and there's just so much stormy stuff. But we don't have to be in the stormy stuff if we don't want to, because we're in spirit all the time, aren't we? We're in spirit. It's who and what we are. It's what we are. So when I look at the definition of prosperity, any of y'all remember Raymond Charles Barker? There you go. Yeah, he was a minister, religious science minister. I think his church was in New York. And he and Ernest Holmes used to write some stuff. And what he said about prosperity is that prosperity is the ability to do what you want to do at the instant you want to do it. The ability to do what you want to do at the instant you want to do it. So if you have that ability to do what you want to do, let's see, your health would be fine because it would be whatever you want to do. You would have the perfect health. Finances would just show up. Whatever it was that you needed would be there for you, and you would have the perfect person in which to do it with. So I say that that is a really great definition of prosperity, the ability to do what you want to do at the instant you want to do it, because it's not always about money. Prosperity is not always about money. It's about health. It's about love, relationships. It's about life in general and how we get through it. Ernest Holmes states in his book, Creative Mind and Success, that money didn't create itself, therefore it must be an effect. Money did not create itself, therefore it must be an effect. And behind the effect is the cause that created it. We have something in religious science called the law of cause and effect. We have first cause, spirit, what we think and feel into it, and effect, the stuff that the law spits out after we put in our thoughts and our ideas. Prosperity is a consciousness. It's what we feel, it's what we think, it's our hopes, it's our dreams. That's prosperity consciousness. And so we know that what is showing up on the outside of your world is what's going on inside here. Inside here. So what's showing up inside of your own world? Are we looking at happiness, joy, love, peace, prosperity, bounty, goodness, excitement? Are we looking at dis-ease, dysfunction, upset, disorientation? What are we looking at? And what is reflecting from that consciousness that we have within? People that have a money consciousness have the outward expression of it. But let me tell you about the people that have just the money consciousness. If you have just the money consciousness, then you're forgetting something, because there's people out there, they got a whole wad of money that they're sitting on, but boy, they're not happy. They got a lot of that green stuff. They're mean, they're nasty, nobody wants to be around them. Maybe they're not feeling so hot, but it's a prosperity, it's a money consciousness. But what about the consciousness of love? What about the consciousness of peace and friendship and balance? Maybe health. It's all the balance to have that consciousness to be able to do what you want to do at the instant you want to do it. So, affirm with me. Repeat after me. I deserve the best and accept the best now.
I deserve the best and accept the best.
That was nice and strong. I'd like that. Yeah, I deserve the best and I accept the best now. So is that something that you think, wow, I can affirm that. I believe that. I accept that for myself. Some people go, ooh, that hurts a little bit. I don't like that. That's a bunch of hooey. That's true. Some people will. And I always know that when they get a little uncomfortable and start wiggling in their seats a little bit, that's where the work needs to be done. That's why we need to do the work. I had a student in one of my classes, and we were talking about the money side of prosperity, and I was saying, well, money is a great exchange while we're here on earth, isn't it? And but really, it's a piece of paper. We think that this piece of paper means something, but it's just a means of exchange. That's all it is, unless you give it the meaning. It is nothing. And she got really mad at me. She got mad at me, and she said, oh yeah, well, you just tell me about that when it comes time to pay the rent, and I don't have any of those little green pieces of paper. So I knew. What was her consciousness reflecting at that time? Lack and limitation. You know your religious science. Lack and limitation. That's right. Well, we worked together for about a year, and she was probably one of the better success stories that I saw. By that, at the end of that time, she was off on her way to do exactly what she wanted to do. Money comes from everywhere and everyone. My good now comes to me from everywhere and everyone. Let's repeat that. Let's do that together. My good now comes to me from everywhere and everyone. And it's true. So we remember that. What is our source? Our source is God. It's not the paycheck. It's not the paycheck or any of the other little reasons. The paycheck and some of the other reasons are means by which the money gets to us. That's our means. But our source is spirit. That is our supply. And we forget about that. Once we change the way that we look at things, and I think this is Wayne Dyer, once we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at will change. Yes, no, absolutely. Your minister knows this, yeah. So what did you believe about money growing up? What did you believe? Well, so I grew up in a little town down towards Santa Cruz, and my dad owned a bar downtown. And we lived in a house, you know, we were kind of like in the middle, nothing too big, nothing too little, just kind of in the midstream. And Dad would send people over to the house to do work for Mom, you know, whatever needed to be done. Some of them were actually just paying off their bar bill, but there were some people that were in there that were actually doing the work, and I would see my dad paying them. And it would just always happen. He'd just always be paying them out. And I thought, that is so cool. And I got away with it for a while until my mom busted me banging into my piggy bank and paying out my friends, right? Just giving them money. That didn't go over too well with her. But it was always a constant flow. And we would go up to the cabin outside of Clear Lake up on Cobb Mountain. And my little best friend and I, we would sit there and we would play Monopoly. And I'd buy up everything that was on that board. Every time I hit it, I bought it up until I got down to $1. And I loved getting down to $1 because you know what would happen after I got down to $1? I knew there was more coming. I knew it. I would say, Monopoly, Monopoly. Just so even sometimes when we get down to the last $2 in the checking account, I say monopoly, because I know to this day, because I know there's more coming. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to block up my good, and neither should any of us, because it's always going to come. It is fear and upset, worry that keeps us from our good. It keeps us from our good. Ernest Holmes says that the only reason for having is so that we can give out what we have. Everything is a means of exchange. We can give out love. We can have love because we give it out. We can have prosperity because we give it out. Everything is, it just goes in this giant circle. Don't you notice that when we look at our kids, right? We look at our kids and we're like, man, they're kind of going through the same stuff we went through. It's always the same kind of stuff, same, different boat, same storm. But everything has its time and its space. So whatever the junk is, if you have junk when you were growing up, having to do with money, prosperity, if it's not serving you now, get rid of it. Dump it. Let it go. It doesn't have to be part of you anymore. Life is limitless, and the only thing that limits us is our own inability to conceive. It's our own inability to conceive mentally. It's ours. It's ours. You gotta believe it to receive it. If you don't believe it, how's it ever gonna get to you? When you're out there, you're holding it out here. This is what I want, but I'm holding it out here saying I'm never gonna have it. So do you think you're ever gonna have it? Do you ever gonna have that consciousness of having, because you're holding it away from you? We do that sometimes. I've done that. Have you ever received a little chunk of change? Nice little chunk of change. Oh boy, this is great. And then the car breaks, or the dog has to go to the vet. Something happens. Oh man, and I just got this chunk of change. Well, how are we looking at this? Did you ever think that maybe the universe is taking care of you and says, I know this is coming up for you, so here you go. Hey, check it out. I have the money to do this. It's not about I don't have the money. I do have the money, and you've always been supplied for. You will always be supplied for. Nothing is ever going to change that. The supply in the universe is inexhaustible. Sands, grains of sand. I know you guys all heard that one before. Grains of sand on the beach. You ever try and count those? Just not going to happen. It's infinite. Leaves on the trees. People in a town. It's everything. It's abundantly supplied. Where are you positioning yourself in spirit for that? What we think about expands. So we have a thought. We've talked about this before. We get a thought. And the thought drops down into our heart. And once it's in our heart, it's game on. Because then we start to feel it. And when we start to feel it, things begin to move. And things begin to change. What do you want to expand in your life? What do you want to change? What do you want to love and be joyous over? Because feeling crummy is not a great thing. There's some people that really love to live there. I can't go there. I'm in this philosophy because I can't go there anymore. Right? It's a crummy place. I mean, I'm human like everybody else. I get mad. I got reminded the other day, love yourself. Oh, crud. So that is the thing. Back in the day, I always thought, wow, I'm in this religious science church, and I see all these people walking in. They got their husband, they got their wife, their couples. I want someone that I can talk to about spirituality, and then he uses it on me, right? So then I found the man. But he's a good reminder for me, because I do the same thing. I do the same thing as everybody else. That hasn't been working for me too well, but I get my reminders. So how do we get a money consciousness? Louise Hay, from You Can Heal Your Life, that's where I started my metaphysics 20-something years ago. She was a religious science minister, and so I had been ill, so I went to a religious science church because I wanted to figure out how I just did what I did, and I was feeling better, but I wasn't sure exactly what happened, and I needed to know more. And she will tell you in her books that at the bottom of everything, of our concerns or our upsets or our fears or our angers or anything that we got going in life that doesn't feel good, is loving the self. is loving the self, accepting the self. She said that we need to make a unity with it. We need to make a unity with loving the self. Daily declare, okay, repeat after me. All the power in the universe.
All the power in the universe
Is daily bringing to me all that I can use.
is daily bringing to me all that I can use.
How does that feel?
Ah,
Yeah, hot a girl. Feel that presence of supply. Feel that it is with you all the time. Know that it is yours now, whether it's health, whether it's loving relationships, whether it's prosperity in the form of money or anything that you would like to. Okay, so picture the red sports car or the giant house or whatever it is that you could think of here on this planet Earth. It's okay. You know, a lot of people think it's not okay for me to have stuff. It's not okay for me to want that big car. It's not okay for me to want that giant house. It is. It is absolutely okay for you to want that. The universe can express for you whatever it is that you want. Y'all know in your textbook, Science Mind textbook, he can tell you, you can either get that little thimble full of good, or you can get a pipeline, oceans full. And I wouldn't stand up here and be talking to you things about things I didn't have to trudge through, and I mean through the sludge, to get to that certain place. The universe doesn't care what you want. It doesn't care how big. It doesn't know size. It doesn't know color. It doesn't know age. Its essence is what we are. So what do you want? You want a thimble? You want pipelines? I want pipelines. I don't know about you, but I'm in for the pipelines. Know that it's yours now and give thanks every day for your good. Feel like you already have it. The feel is the presence. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the prayer. So what are you feeling? You think about that when you go home. What are you feeling? Dr. Michael Beckwith would talk about the spark. The spark. All it takes is that spark. That first time you fell in love, or the spark that brings you, the thoughts of that beautiful home that you've always wanted. Whatever brings you that spark, you concentrate on that spark. You imagine that spark. You daydream over that spark, and you watch it grow. What we think about expands. And then pretty soon, that becomes a prayer, and the universe and reality are interchanging, and your things start to demonstrate for you. That goes for health as well. So, also, when you're working on yourself, get rid of the negative talk. Get rid of the stuff, okay, I'm no good, oh, I failed, nobody likes me, I'm all alone, I'm worthless. Those things, get rid of them. They don't belong to you. They're not a part of who and what you are. That's not the truth of you. Those are old things that are happening in your head. They're tapes that keep going over and over. Time to let them go, right? Because how's that been working for you? Has it been working for you? It has not. Nope. Just saying. Thank you. Keep the richness of life in your thoughts. Get the $1 million consciousness. $1 million consciousness. I can have. Now have. Repeat after me. I think we did this before. I'm going to do it again because I love this one. My good now comes to me.
my good now comes to me
From everyone and everywhere.
from everyone and everywhere.
Because God is our what?
Because God is our way.
God is our source. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I love you guys. Air hug. Ernest Holmes says, as we speak a word we do not know, we cannot make an affirmation that we do not understand. So you go inside and you pull those affirmations out, those that work for you, because you don't want to just go spitting things out that you don't understand. If that affirmation didn't feel good for you, I probably shouldn't have said repeat it, but I think it was a pretty good one. The universe conspires for our good, and there is enough for everybody. Whenever you think about anything big, immediately think, that's for me. Because you want to start to expand your consciousness. You need to work on large concepts with the law. Because we know the law always says, yes, it does. So it doesn't care what you're thinking. Icky stuff or good stuff. It doesn't care. But it will tell you yes. It will move for you. Edwene Gaines. You guys all remember Edwene Gaines? Yeah, she was great on prosperity. Loved her. And she had this affirmation that she used that I thought was pretty good. So if you feel these words are right, you can accept them for yourself. With regards to prosperity, I now receive, large, lavish, lush, financial, surprises. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I love that. Oh, that felt so good. I loved Edwene Gaines. We had, another story, but another talk. So never let go of that mental image until you get the manifestation, until you get the demonstration. Whatever that hot, warm stuff is that you're feeling on the inside, that prosperity feeling, that healthy feeling, the I can do it, I can be, I am now, that feeling, keep it with you. Find that spark, and then watch it grow. Watch it grow. Ernest Holmes says that the spirit makes things out of itself by simply becoming the thing that it makes. Let me say that again. The spirit makes things out of itself by simply becoming the thing that it makes. That's kind of... That's who we are. That's right. And as a matter of fact, her prayer this morning, her healing prayer, that was this whole talk right there. I could have just left and called it good on that. But that was good. The spirit makes things out of itself by simply becoming the thing that it makes. So we talked about this last time I was here. It's one infinite mind. It doesn't know anything outside of itself. So we come popping out of it. We are exactly what it is. We are individualized personifications of the Father, Mother, God, made in God's perfect image and likeness. Absolutely. So be careful with your thoughts. We are given choice. We are given choice. That's another talk. Never let yourself doubt for even a minute. Never doubt yourself. Never. Give yourself a break. Look at how long that you have been here, how much that you have gone through, the relationships you've been through, the financial things that you've had to do or that you've done or that you've lost or that you've gained. The health issues. We all got our own stuff. We all have our own stuff, whatever it is. Give yourself credit for getting as far as you've got. You're here. What's I saw on Facebook? We don't pray here in religious science. We don't pray to keep ourselves from going to hell because here in New Thought we've already been there. Yeah. So, and I find that this is the reasons that we come. And here now we're all trying to rectify all that stuff that happened as we were growing up and going through relationships and parents and friends and issues and bonds and emotional stuff. Crazy stuff. But if we sit for just a moment and rectify everything with the Father, Mother, God and recognize that we are just spirit and those are just experiences on this prosperity pathway in life. That's what it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. Keep watch over the inner workings of your thoughts, and the law will do the rest. So it's kind of like taking care of today, so tomorrow will take care of itself. Yeah. So we just make sure that our thoughts are kept in line with what we want to experience, what our feelings are. And then the law will finish it off for us. Make sure it's good stuff. So I'm just going to finish with this. I'm going to close with this. One sweet little sentence. You're the only one putting the limitation on the size of your dreams. John Dufour. Namaste.